Breaking news regarding the Vanessa Bryant lawsuit. A verdict has been reached in this case where she was suing for $75 million with another family, and the jury has come to a verdict and Vanessa Bryant has been awarded and wins this lawsuit.
She will be given $16 million, her and her family, and Chris Chester, who lost his wife and daughter in the crash, will also receive money, $15 million, meaning LA County will now have to shell out $31 million to the two families following that lawsuit. Both sides of the argument, it took some time to get to this decision, but when it came down to the verdict, it only took them about an hour or so, not that long, before the jurors were able to finally come to a decision here.
That's right. Bryant sued for negligence and violation of privacy, along with Chris Chester, like you said, who lost his wife and daughter in that 2020 crash. In reaching the verdict, it only took, like you mentioned, just a few hours. And, these illicit photos of the crash victims' bodies had violated their client's right to the privacy. And Vanessa Bryant was claiming and awarded, and the jury agreed, that she was suffering from emotional distress and anxiety if those photos were to ever be released to the public. And we were talking about some evidence that came up during the trial about the hard drive of one of the officers was missing.
Yeah, one of the fire captains who allegedly took photos had their hard drive missing when investigators were looking into it. So the county argued that this was a legal, the photos were taken for a reason, so that they can collect evidence, and it wasn't taken to be spread amongst, of course, people, and that the photos were never seen publicly. But the Bryant's lawyers, they argue that there's no clue how far the photos went.
Correct.
And they didn't do a thorough enough job of investigating how far those photos went, therefore causing emotional distress that one day their daughters, their family might come across those photos and, of course, continue to go through the scarring that they already have.
We want to bring in Allison Triesel. She is our legal expert here on KTLA and longtime friend. And Allison, this was an 11-day federal trial in Los Angeles, and this was a key point in the trial was when there were photos of one of the sheriff's deputies sharing his screen at a bar with a bartender, and that may have actually brought this to a close, and why the jury deliberated so quickly and awarded both the Chester family and the Bryant family a total of $31 million.
Right. I mean, what's interesting is most experts will tell you, and lawyers who try cases in federal court, the shorter the deliberations in a case like this usually favors the defense and not the plaintiff. Here, they had to actually decide on what basis they were going to award the plaintiff money and how much, and it was done in 3.5 hours. So I do believe that it was absolutely pivotal. That video where a deputy is showing a bartender pictures of this, death investigation, was shocking. And the question is, did it shock the conscious? Another argument that the county made very unsuccessfully was, well, this isn't really public. They weren't sharing it with members of the public because they were law enforcement. But the thing is, the bartender was certainly public, and the fear that these will be disseminated. There was someone you talked about on the computer hard drive that was lost. Another of the deputies airdropped it to someone, name unknown. So the fear that it could be disseminated, widely disseminated, is very real. And it's very real also because look at who we're talking about. We're talking about Kobe Bryant. We're talking about one of the most famous people in our country. His death was absolutely horrible. This is his wife who's grieving over his loss and the loss of their child. These are not things that LA County sheriffs should be doing. You do not share these, and apparently there was testimony that this has sort of been routine for them to share these death books. So the jury certainly sent a very strong message. Although they didn't award the $75 million that had been floated around earlier, $31 million, which is 16 for Vanessa Bryant and her family, and 15 for the Chester family, is a lot of money that that LA County has to come up with.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you here, because the Bryant family didn't ask for a specific number off the jump, but the Chester family did. The Chester family wanted around $32 million in this. They're getting 15. Do you find that to be fair?
Well, I mean, $15 million is still a lot of money. I think that nothing, no amount of money is going to bring their families back, of course. $30 million, I think, was really high, and this jury felt that at $15 and $16 million, they would very adequately address the issue, compensate these victims, and send a very clear message. There's no doubt that the county will probably appeal this decision. It's a lot of money for the county to come up with. But I do think that this jury sent a very strong message that this behavior is not going to be tolerated, and the county is going to come out of pocket a lot of money, and that these officers need to be better trained. And it wasn't just the sheriff's department, it was also the fire department that shared these photos, and they did it in a very callous way. One at a dinner party, one we talked about at a bar, one with a spouse, one playing with a friend of his when he's playing video games and he's playing Call of Duty. Vanessa Bryant testified to the heartbreak, not just of losing her husband, but the fear that these pictures will one day surface and her other children will see them. And these were graphic, awful images.
And that's what we were talking about before we came on air, Pedro and I. It's the last images, you
have of your family member.
Of your family member, and this is it's traumatic. Truly, it is. So what's next? We have the verdict. There's been an amount that has been decided on now by the jury. But what happens to these pictures?
That's the question, and that's why I'm sure this jury ruled or found the way they did. And that is, and there were forensic experts that testified to the county that all the pictures have been deleted and that there's no chance that they will be disseminated. But again, there's no way to assure that. In this day and age with social media and a missing computer hard drive and something being airdropped to somebody who the person is still unknown, there really is no way to say categorically 100% these pictures will never be released. And so what this jury did was say it's not just for the emotional distress that you've suffered thus far, but also will suffer in the future, because there will truly be a fear from Vanessa Bryant and the Chester family that at some point in their lives and the lives of their children, these pictures will get out.
Yeah, I mean, even if it's not shared, someone can take a picture of the photo and then that can be shared, and who knows. Now, I'm curious, you mentioned that an appeal process is likely to happen. Will they appeal the decision, or can they appeal the amount of money that was given? Or both?
Most likely they're going to appeal the amount, right? They're going to appeal the amount of money that was awarded to these families. And that will take some time. We do understand, by the way, that with Vanessa Bryant specifically, she really made this much less a matter of money, although she wanted them to be punished and to make a stinging, make a stinging statement.
Sure.
But it really was more about, this is not okay, and I want them to acknowledge, or want a jury to find that what they've done is wrong, and I want there to be changes that go into effect as a result. So this is not a case where they will immediately be written a check by the county. There will be an appellate process. They do have an uphill battle because a jury has awarded this money. And so for an appellate court to overturn that, they're overturning the will of a impaneled jury that ruled unanimously that these people are entitled to this money. But it will take time. And so I don't think any checks will be written to the Bryant or the Chester family right away. But ultimately, at the end of the day, Vanessa Bryant wanted justice for her daughter. She wanted justice for her husband. And I believe she truly, although she'll never get him back, she truly today with this verdict has received that justice.
All right. Good afternoon, everybody. This is the KTLA 5 News at 5. I'm Cher Calvin.
And I'm Pedro Rivera. We're joined now by Allison Triso, our KTLA legal expert, to analyze what we have going on here. That verdict reached in the Vanessa Bryant case, the Bryant family receiving $16 million in the settlement with LA County, while the Chester family, remember, Chris Chester lost his wife and daughter Peyton in that crash as well. They're receiving $15 million.
That's right. And jurors have reached, again, that verdict in that explosive trial over the graphic photos. Allison, we're going to get to you in a moment. We do now have Lauren Lister, who is downtown in front of the course. Actually, we'll get back to her in just a minute as she gathers some more information for us. But Allison, truly, this is quite a landmark case here, with $31 million out of the $75 million that was asked by lawyers being awarded to the families in this trial that was very closely watched by fans and of course, you know, everybody here in LA and around the world.
Right. I mean, this jury made clear that this behavior of disseminating photographs, that it was in fact disseminated, that it did cause emotional distress, that it was reckless, it was inhumane, and they believe, and the jury, they deliberated for only 3.5 hours. And in those 3.5 hours, they found that the county is liable for an enormous amount of money.
Like you said, whenever, you know, a jury deliberates for that little time, it's likely going to be in favor of the you know, Vanessa Bryant and Mr. Chester.
Right, because the jury in that time had to go through the questions that were asked of them and then come up with an amount. And so they quickly determined, obviously, that the county was liable. And then they came up with an amount in the millions of dollars. So they clearly felt that these photos were publicly disseminated and that they caused emotional distress.
And the argument here from the county was that the photos had never been seen publicly. When Sheriff Villanueva was on the stand and he had a cross-examination last week, he said that he believed that they were all deleted and pretty sure that they were, that was accurate. But when he was pressed further, according to the LA Times here, I just want to quote from that in that moment, he said, "God knows, that's about it." And we now want to go to Lauren Lister. She is live on the scene with this breaking news. Again, the jury has awarded $31 million in damages to both the Chester and Bryant family in the case that was stemming from the first responders sharing photos of that helicopter crash that killed Kobe Bryant, her daughter Gianna, and 7 others. Lauren?
Yeah, Cher, that jury reaching that verdict just a short time ago after just hours of deliberation, awarding Vanessa Bryant and also Chris Chester, who is a family member of other crash victims, a total of $31 million. Let's go ahead and jump into some video because we have seen Vanessa Bryant at times going in and out of federal court. Cameras were not allowed in the courtroom itself, but of course there were observers. The plaintiffs in this case, both Bryant and Chris Chester, awarded $31 million for graphic photos that sheriff's deputies and firefighters took of the 2020 helicopter crash scene that killed 9 people, including, of course, basketball icon Kobe Bryant, his daughter Gianna, also Sarah and Peyton Chester, that's the wife and daughter of the co-plaintiff. Now, in reaching the verdict after just a few hours of deliberations, jurors making it clear they had been persuaded by attorneys for Bryant and Chester, who argued illicit photos of the crash victims' bodies had violated their clients' constitutional rights to privacy and inflicted emotional distress. Now, this has been an 11-day trial with at times emotional testimony, tears shed in the courtroom by Vanessa Bryant and others. Lawyers for Bryant and Chester documented how the photos spread, shown from a deputy's phone to a bartender, to firefighters and their spouses during an awards gala, one deputy to another while playing a video game, while on the other side, county lawyers argued the photos were never published online or in the media, nor were they seen by victims' families, crediting the swift work by the sheriffs and fire leaders in tamping down their spread. In fact, the attorney arguing this is the pictures case and there are no pictures. But plaintiff's attorneys, they had asked the jury for damages of up to $42.5 million for Bryant and $32.5 million for Chester. So that is quite a bit more than they were awarded. But again, back out here live, 9 federal jurors awarding $31 million in total to the two. And we will continue following this outside of the courtroom courthouse in case there is any reaction down here at Federal Court downtown. For now, I'll send it back to you guys in the studio.
We'll check in with you. Thank you, Lauren. Meantime, a massive new mural honoring the late Laker legend Kobe Bryant has been unveiled in downtown L.A. This comes as the City of Angels celebrates Mamba Day, or 824, symbolizing both the numbers Bryant wore during his Laker career. You see it here on your screen. The giant mural takes up an entire side of a wall of a building along South Hope Street at 125 feet by 25 feet. Organizers say it's the largest portrait of the Laker great in the City of Angels.